Some recipes are so complicated and need ridiculous ingredients and things you'd never keep in your house regularly, and you just don't really feel like doing them, but the recipe looks so good and you really want to try it, and this is this recipe. It's not necessarily complicated, it's basically like a cinnamon roll, but with lemon. And I think it's going to be delicious. It's got a little bit of some strange ingredients that really you wouldn't think would work, but I'm really excited to try it, and I really want to try how it tastes. So let's try it out. Let's see how it works and let's make it together. So I've got a lot of the ingredients here for the main part at least. So these are the ingredients we're going to use to make the main dough for our lemon rolls. So to start off, we're gonna use 1 cup of buttermilk, and I've heated it up to about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's just see what the temperature is now. It's about 106-ish. I don't think those 6 degrees are gonna be the end of the world. So I'm actually just gonna grab a fork here and maybe just mix it up a little bit, let it cool down. And then what we do is we add the yeast. So this is 1 package of yeast. I don't usually keep packages, so I've measured out 2 1/4 teaspoons of dry instant yeast. So put that in there, and also it asks you to put 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar. So I measured out the granulated sugar for this recipe in this bowl here, so I'm just gonna take 1 tablespoon of that. Perfect. I'm going to just mix this up really quickly. And we're gonna let this sit for about 5 minutes. So hold tight, we'll be back. So while this is sitting, we're gonna let it rest for 5 minutes, like I said. We're gonna add the rest of the ingredients into our mixing bowl. So this is my stand mixer mixing bowl, because really, why use your hands when you've got a stand mixer? But obviously you could use a regular bowl. So we are going to add the butter. So this is 1/2 cup of softened butter. Okay. And then we're gonna add the remaining sugar. And 1 tablespoon of lemon zest. Perfect. And salt. So I've actually added a little less salt. This is about 1/4 of a teaspoon. I'm gonna add 2 of those. It actually asks for 1 whole teaspoon. I've been having some bad luck with making my desserts pretty salty recently, so I'm just gonna be a little careful and just keep it that way. That's a little ridiculous, but no worries. And the ingredient that I'm actually quite excited about in this lemon roll is cardamom. If you've never smelled or tasted cardamom, it's pretty powerful, and it's such an interesting smell. It's really delicious. My mom uses it for chicken. I'm sure it's used in Indian cooking, a lot of different types of cooking. It's a really great spice, and that's what we're going to use today. I'm not sure. Someone must have tried it and really liked it, but I think that's what we're going to do. So 1/2 teaspoon of cardamom. Perfect, that's all in there. So that's all in there, and then we're gonna mix this together with our paddle attachment on our mixer. So let's take it over there. So our ingredients are combined now. After that, we're going to mix in our yeast, buttermilk, sugar mixture, as well as our 3 beaten eggs. So let's go do that now. It's been about 5 minutes, so let's just make sure this guy's combined. And so you just want to make sure that it looks foamy, and it does. It looks actually pretty nice and foamy. All right, we'll be back. So what's really important when you're using butter with a stand mixer, to scrape your bowl down, or else half your butter and ingredients are gonna get stuck to the side and not everything is gonna be mixed in. So we're gonna do that right now. All right, so now that our ingredients are mixed together, what we're gonna go with now is our flour. We're gonna add our flour, we're gonna do it on low so it doesn't get everywhere, and we're gonna mix it together just until everything is combined. We're gonna switch over to our hook and combine the rest. So everything now looks like it's all nice and moistened. We're gonna switch over to our dough hook and let it run for about 5 minutes until everything is combined and looks good and doesn't stick to the sides of the bowl. Okay, so we were mixing until the dough is nice and pillowy and soft. It will stick to the bottom of the bowl, but that's okay. And all looks good. It's really nice and soft, and really you don't want the dough to be too dry. It's usually best to keep it a little less dry, just a tiny bit sticky, so it's not completely just like sticking to your fingers, but there is some residue. So looks perfect so far. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're going to oil another bowl, put some oil in it, put this dough in, and we're gonna let it rise for about 1 hour. Let's grab another bowl, just a tiny bit of oil. And then we're going to move our dough. All right. Try to get as much as you can. Perfect. Oh, this dough feels so good. I think this may be like the best dough I've made. Make sure to get as much of your dough from the bowl as possible. It's perfect. And then we're gonna roll our dough to make sure that it's all got some oil on it. That's perfect as well. All good. Then we're going to plastic wrap around our bowl, and we're gonna let it sit for 1 hour. So plastic wrap. There we are. So let's let this guy rise, and we'll check it in about an hour, see what the size is. So while we're waiting for the dough to rise, I'm just gonna make the filling we're gonna use for the rolls. So we've got 1 cup of granulated sugar and about 1 tablespoon of lemon zest. And I say about because there's more in there. We like it lemony. Perfect. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of the cardamom again. So this, we're just gonna use our fingers to mix everything up. Make sure it's combined properly. Make sure that lemon is not just big chunks in the sugar, that it's loose. So yeah, it looks really nice and smells amazing. That cardamom, even though we're using a 1/4 teaspoon, which is not very much, in a cup of sugar, you could absolutely smell it. So for this stuff, a little goes a long way. So as well with this filling, to make sure that it sticks to our roll, we've also got about 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter here as well. So we're gonna make sure this is soft enough so that we can spread it evenly after we roll out our dough. So we're just gonna let these wait, and we're still gonna wait for our dough. Our dough has now risen for about 1 hour, a little bit more than an hour, but it is looking really good. So it's more than doubled in size now. It's nice and soft still, so all good there. We're going to start now. We've got a 9x13 pan. We're going to line it with parchment paper and then spread some butter on top of the parchment paper to make sure that the rolls do not stick. So we're going to do this. I'm just cutting the parchment paper so it doesn't annoy the heck out of me while I'm lining this with butter. So that's all good. Just let it naturally fall. And okay, and now we're just going to take a little piece of butter here, a nice softened butter, and then just spread it out. It does not have to be a big thick layer of butter. It will melt completely. It's just to prevent anything from sticking. A nice even layer. And there we go. So just like that. We're going to put this to the side and we're going to start rolling out our dough. So I've got some flour here and I've got our butter we're going to use and I've got our filling. So if you remember, this is cardamom, lemon zest, sugar, and just a pinch of salt. All right, we're going to lay out some flour. We definitely don't want the sticking because that's just going to create havoc. And then we're just going to fold this over itself a couple of times. Make sure it gets off the sides of the bowl. And then just dump it. I like to make sure I get everything from the bowl. I don't know. My mom's the same way. Okay, and then this is really nice soft dough. And we've got our rolling pin. We're gonna flour that as well. And then just start rolling. So you want to keep it a rectangle so it's easier to roll up the buns. Doesn't have to be perfect, it never is, but just as long as it's the same thickness, should be good to go. This dough is beautiful, like really, really nice. It's just so soft. I don't know what it is, but my dough never ever turns out like this. Perfect. Looks good. Awesome. Great. All right. We're done with the rolling pin now. Next is the butter. I'm just going to soften the butter a tiny bit more so it doesn't rip up our dough. So for your dough, you want to make sure that it's 16 by 12 inches and 1/4 of an inch thick. So just eyeball it, make sure that it's all good and same thickness. Make sure that because it's the same thickness, it will help bake evenly and you won't find more doughy pieces in there. So this looks good. We're just gonna make sure shape looks good. Okay, our butter looks nice and soft now, so we're just going to evenly spread it. So it's important to make sure that it's evenly spread because this is what is going to help the sugar mixture stick to the dough and not just fall out without baking properly. If you don't like to use your hands, you could just use a spatula. It's no big deal. There we go. Nice nice and spread out. Perfect. And now we're ready to spread out our filling. I'm going to just sprinkle evenly. So once we've got all the filling on here, I'm just going to use my hands to spread it out evenly and sort of press it down into the dough so that it doesn't just roll out and fall out once we roll it. And just make sure it's even as well. Perfect. That lemon zest looks beautiful in here. And push down, let it soak up into the butter. Great. It feels a little strange making this, and only because usually it's brown sugar and cinnamon that goes in here, and so it looks a little weird with white sugar, with white granulated sugar, but I always really like trying new things, and so this seems like the perfect type of recipe. As in, it should come out tasting and looking delicious, but it's a pain in the butt to make. There's way too many steps and way too many different ingredients that I wouldn't normally have, and there's way too much proofing of dough, but that's all right. It's Saturday night, and what else am I gonna do during a pandemic, really? Okay, looks like we're good. Let's get this off here. All right, so now let's start on the edge here. We're gonna just start rolling up our dough. So you want to make this as tight as you can, not loose at all. So just start on one side and tuck the dough in on itself as you go along. And just keep going. Try and make it tight the whole way. Don't loosen up. So keep going. Make sure to press down on those sides there, because they are the ones that are always the most loose. There we go. Almost done. Great. And now we've just got one big log of lemon rolls. So just shape it so it's about the same thickness all around. Perfect. Looks great. Perfect. So we've got this all ready. All right. We're gonna grab our pan, and I'm gonna grab my serrated knife. You can use unscented floss to cut this, but I only have mint floss and I don't want to mess with that weird flavor. So, okay, so we're gonna cut into 12 even pieces. So you just start in the middle, and I find with a serrated knife it helps to just do long strokes rather than just little small strokes so it doesn't push it down. And then 6 and 6 on each side. There you go. Perfect. There you go. So there's a lot of little layers here. We're just gonna place these down. look at that. Really nice. There's not really a lot to see because, like I said, it's white sugar on a white background. So let's just hope the flavor is good. Yeah, these look really good. I really like those nice thin layers in there. I think sometimes I do like when I spread out my cinnamon roll dough or dough like this, I tend to spread it out a little more thin. Because I do like to see all those layers in there and to have as much of that filling as possible. I think it just makes it really good. So yeah. Perfect. Great. And one more. Fantastic. So this, let's cut this up here. All right, so here we are. Our lemon rolls are done. They still have to proof for about another hour. So I'm gonna let them sit. If you do want to just wait and make them for breakfast in the morning, you can just cover them up with plastic wrap, put them in the fridge for about 24 hours. And when you're ready to use them, take them out, let them sit for a bit, and then pop them in the oven. So I'm just gonna bake these tonight. So I'm going to let them relax, sit, proof for another hour, and we will be back. So this recipe calls for a cream cheese icing. And it's a fairly easy icing. All it really needs is about 6 ounces of cream cheese, 1 cup of powdered sugar, and about 1 to 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, really based on what you feel like. So we're gonna get this started here. So this block of cream cheese is about 250 milligrams. We need 170 for our recipe. So a little more than half of it. And then we're going to scoop out 1 cup of powdered sugar. Also, make sure you have your whisk attachment ready. These do not have to be precise measurements by any means. So this is about 2 tablespoons. I do have more here just in case it doesn't taste so lemony. I do like a lot of lemon on my stuff. All right, this looks nice and creamy. Make sure you scrape the sides down. I'm gonna try it. Oh, that's so good. I'm gonna add just a little bit more lemon. And then I'm gonna let it mix a bit more. Ooh. This looks so nice and creamy. It looks amazing. I'm going to try one more time just to make absolute sure. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Perfect. So in the recipe it says the icing should be fairly thick. I think I thinned mine out a little bit too much, so I'm gonna add a little bit of powdered sugar and then let's let it mix up a little. The rolls have proofed for about an hour now. I'm going to set the oven for 350 degrees. Once the oven is set, we're gonna let it warm up and then pop the rolls into the oven for about 30 to 35 minutes. Okay, it looks like the oven is ready. I'm gonna put in the rolls and give them about 30 minutes and we'll check on them again. Okay, let's take a look. Oh, those look good. They're not quite done yet. They need a couple more minutes. Okay, it looks like they're all done. I'm gonna let them sit for about 5 minutes to cool down a little bit, and then we'll put the icing on top. Okay, so our lemon rolls have cooled down a bit now. Okay, here we are.
That looks divine.
Divine. Oh yeah, the little bits.
Oh, it looks very lemony. That looks really good. Cinnamon rolls with lemon. I love this idea.
Oh, that's good. All right, we're gonna put some icing on here.
Wow. So what's in the icing?
So this is lemon juice, cream cheese, and icing sugar.
No lemon zest?
No, I know. There's a ton of lemon zest in the dough and inside it. So, ta-da!
This looks like eating the Reaper burger.
Yeah.
You don't have to get right in there.
No, you just be a normal human and peel. Okay, here, let's grab a fork maybe.
I don't think I've ever been a normal human. Oh wow, are we gonna start eating pizza with forks now too?
What do you think?
No, very cream cheesy.
This dough is beautiful. If you do nothing else from this recipe, use this dough recipe. I think it's the best one I've ever made.
And that's saying something. You know, usually with a thing like this, I would find the cream cheese frosting, icing, whatever, to be the start of the show. But yeah, you're right. The dough might actually be the best part, which I don't think I've ever said about anything like this.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, honestly, it's so it's so soft and buttery, and
buttery.
that buttermilk just really just kills it in here. It's amazing. Try this recipe. You will not regret it. It's such a unique recipe. The cardamom is not overpowering. If anything, it actually helps.
I was going to ask you about it.
Lemon flavor. I think it really makes it pop a lot. And you can see that lemon zest in here. It's really, really nice. Yeah, look at that. You can see all those little flecks.
Yeah, I can see.
So you see those little flecks there? 100% success, this recipe.
Yeah, you nailed it. Well, You nail every baking thing you do.
No, I've definitely failed at
Okay,
this.
I'll have another bite, please.
It's a tough recipe for sure, but really good.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
All right, well, 2 thumbs up.
4 thumbs up.
4 thumbs up. We'll
Great
see
job.
you later.
Take care.
They're so good, right?
No problem.